video tutorial for week 5 of CC 102 Fundamentals of Programming. I am Jet Antonio, a BSIT 1 student from Quezon City University College of Computer Studies. So in this video, we will talk about one of the most essential topics in programming, which is the programming basics. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the building blocks of Java programming together. So before we begin, let's first go over our learning objectives for this session. So by the end of this session, the learners should be able to discuss the different data types used in Java programming, understand the variables, declaration, identifiers, and keywords, and recognize the different Java keywords categorically. So these objectives will guide us throughout this video and help you understand the fundamentals that every Java programmer needs to know. So here are the so before let's start with the parameters used in first Java program. So when you first write a simple program in Java, for example, the Hello World program, you will see several words that have special meanings. So these meanings is we call class, public, and static. So first is class. This keyword is used to declare a class in Java. Then the public keyword is also keyword is an access modifier which represents visibility. So this is an access modifier that defines the visibility of a class or method. When something is public, it means it can be accessed from anywhere. Then we have the static, which is a keyword. If you declare any method as static, it is known as the static method. So this means that the method belongs to the class itself, not to an individual object. So in other words, we can call it without creating an instance. So moving on, let's look at the remaining parameters. This one is void, is the return type of the method. It mainly represents the starting point of the program. So it is a return type of method. It means the method does not return any value. Then main is where the Java program begins execution. So it's literally the starting point of every Java program. Then we have strings. Args is used for command line argument. This string args allows us to handle it allows us to handle command line arguments. For example, inputs when running a program for the console. And that's the example for that. So finally is the system that print ln is used to print a statement. So this is used to display or print a statement on the screen. I'm sorry, it is system that print ln. It is used to print statement. For instance, if you type system that print in hello world, it will show the message hello world in the output console. So next is the basic syntax. So first remember that Java is a case sensitive, meaning that hello and hello are treated as two different identifiers. When naming classes, always starts with an uppercase letter. For example, class my first Java class. For example, is class my first Java class. So if a class name has multiple words, capitalize the first letter of each inner word. This is known as the Pascal case. Okay, Pascal case. So next is for method names, always start with a lowercase letter. Example, public void my method name. If there are multiple words, use camel case. Capitalize the first letter of each word after the first one. Okay? And an important reminder, the program file name should exactly match the class name. So if your class is named my first Java class, your file must be named my first Java class.java. So this is a common mistake for beginners, so keep that in mind. So next is the Java keywords. Java uses a special set of words called keywords or reserved words. These are predefined by the Java language and have specific meanings. Because they already serve a purpose, we cannot use them as variable names or identifiers. Some common examples are public, class, void, static, if else, and for. Think of keywords as the grammar rules of Java, and they help the program understand what you are trying to do. Next is the Java identifiers. So, all Java components require names. Names used for classes, variables, and methods are called identifiers. All identifiers should begin with the letter A to Z or A to Z, small letter, currency character, dollars, or an underscore. After the first character, identifiers can have any combination of characters. A keyword cannot be used as an identifier. Most importantly, identifiers are case sensitive. Okay, remember that. Examples of legal identifiers is age, salary value, and underscore one underscore value. Examples of illegal identifiers are 1, 2, 3, ABC, and minus salary. So every name you create in Java, whether it's for a class, method, or variable, it is called an identifier. Identifier must follow these rules, okay? They must begin with a letter or underscore or a dollar sign. After the first character, then you can use letters, digits, or underscores. They are case sensitive, okay? So meaning age with a letter, big letter A, and age with a small letter A are different. And most importantly, keywords cannot be used as identifiers. Okay. So here are the examples of legal identifiers. Here, salary, value, and this is the illegal identifiers. It is invalid ones. Okay. So next, now let's talk about the Java variables. Variable is a container which holds the value while the Java program is executed. A variable is assigned with a data type. Variable is the name of memory location. There are three types of variables in Java: local, instance, and static. So a variable is a container that stores data during the execution of a program. Every variable has a data type which defines what kind of value it can hold. So in Java, there are three types of variable: the local, instance, and static. So the local variables are declared in methods, constructors or a variable declared inside the body of the method. It is called local variables. It is declared inside the method or constructor. The instance variable naman is a variable declared inside the class but outside the body of the method. And the static variable is declared using the static keyword and shared among all objects of the class, and it cannot be local. Next slide. So here are the example code of local instance and static variables. So here are the code. So in this code, we can see that this is the instance variable. Okay, the int data equals 50 dash slash slash is the instance variable. The m is equals to 100. The m is a static variable. Okay, and the Local variable is the n. Okay. Each one of these has a different scope and lifetime within the program. So let's look at a simple Java program that adds two numbers naman. So when you run this program, the output will be 20 because it's a basic but powerful example showing how variables hold values and perform arithmetic operations. Kasi dito, kinukuha niya yung A and B and pinagsasama niya si A and B. So, ang sagot ni A plus B is equals to C. So, the output will be 20. It's a simple program lang, math. And this program is a holds value and perform arithmetic operations. It is a simple program that adds two numbers. So next type is data types in Java. So data types specify the different sizes and values that can be stored in the variable. So there are two types of data types in Java. It is the primitive data types. It is the basic building blocks like the int, char, float, and boolean, and double, int, byte, and long. So, and we have also the non-primitive data types, which is more complex types such as the classes, interface, and arrays. So let's look at the building blocks of data manipulation of different types of Java primitive data types. So here there are 8 types of primitive data types: the int, long, float, char, double, short, byte, and boolean. So these are the building blocks of data manipulation. So there's the most basic types available in Java language here. Next is we will explain what is Boolean data type. So the Boolean data type is used to store only two possible values, only true and false. So this type is used for simple flags that track true or false conditions. So Boolean data type stores only two possible values. It is just true and false. It is commonly used for conditions and logical decisions. So example, if boolean 1 is equals to false. So a white data type naman is an example of primitive data type. It is an 8-bit sign to complement integer. Its value range lies between -128 to 127 inclusive. Its minimum value is -128 and maximum value is 127. So its default value is 0. So example is byte A is equals to 10, byte B is equals to -20, and so forth and so on. So here are the example of the double data type and char data type. So double data type is a 64-bit number used for high precision decimals. This is, you can see that double pi equals 3.14159, while the character data type or char data type is a type that stores a single character like a letter or number. So here's the example for that: char letter equals A, char digit is equals to 9. So next is the short data type and the int data type. The short data type is a 16-bit integer. So example is this: s is short s is equals to 10,000, short r is equals to -5,000. So while the int data type is a 32-bit it's a 32-bit commonly used for whole numbers. Okay, so int a is equals to 100,000, int b is equals to -200,000. So next is the long data type is a 64-bit and can store very large integers. Example like long a is equals to 100,000 L, long b is equals to -200,000 L. And the float data type is a single precision 32-bit floating point number used for decimals with less precision than double. So for example, is float f1 is equals to 234.5f. So to wrap up, we learned that Java programming begins with understanding its basic building blocks, syntax, keywords, identifiers, variables, and also data types. So variables act as a containers for data and their correct declaration is essential for effective coding. Identifiers and keyword must be used properly to avoid and maintain clarity. Data types, both primitive and non-primitive, define what kind of values a variable can store. So remember that strong basics lead to strong programming skills. So once you master these concepts, you'll be ready to write more complex programs and solve real-world problems in Java. And that concludes our week 5 programming basics with Joe tutorial. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you better understand Java fundamentals. And don't forget to practice coding regularly because consistency is the key to improvement. So again, this is Jet Antonio from LPSIT 1E. So if you have any questions and clarifications, just comment down below and so please subscribe and like my video. Yeah, it will help me a lot. So yeah, thank you. Again, this is Jet Antonio from PSIT1A signing off. See you in the next lesson, I guess. Thank you. Bye.